sweet soul. Hello. Welcome to my healing church. Yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, we will be listening to your confessions. There were quite a lot of confessions. 577 to be exact. And there were so many, I had to end them a day early. Well, I personally read through each and every one of them. I have read all of your confessions myself, and I must say, some of the confessions have permanently altered my state of mind. I now know things that I never thought were possible. I know things that I never thought a person would be capable of. And now I must remember and live with these sins. Many of these sins involve the use of male genitalia, and as someone who has never seen one, I am certainly more scared of them now. Thank you for this knowledge. I believe I am traumatized. And to the person who specifically wrote a story involving a carp, dare I say multiple carp, and a catfish, I have not been able to stop thinking about your confession. I believe most sins can be forgiven, but I do not think yours can. It is something I don't think anyone should know. And if you're watching this right now, please get help. Now, that being said, most sins can be forgiven. But forgiveness does not come easily. No, no, no. Forgiveness comes with hard work and dedication. One must be dedicated to the idea of changing and becoming better. If you believe that you have a sin that you want to be forgiven, you must work towards this forgiveness. Now, that being said, I noticed as well, a lot of your confessions are perhaps a bit sad. And I understand that you may be feeling down on your life, or perhaps that you are not in the best place. But please know, my dear, that your depression and what you are struggling with, it is not a sin. You are beautiful and you are wonderful, and I will always be here for you in your darkest times. So please, do not think your woes are a sin. Do not think it is something deserving of punishment. You are valid and you are beautiful, and I love you. But today we're going to be looking at about 21 confessions, I think, out of the 577. I had someone help me go through and pick a few, and I picked a few myself as well. We'll see. It'll be a surprise. But just remember, I did read all of them personally. Every single one of them. So, if you think that perhaps, you know, you're sad that I didn't see yours, I did, don't worry. And if you guys like this enough, perhaps in the future we will return to the Healing Church. And we will read more confessions. Ah. But before we get started, I want to say thank you to Papa November for the supa. Or for the holy donation. Thank you to Nightmare for being a member of the church for 4 months. And thank you for Delirious for being a member of the church for 5 months. I'm so grateful for your patronage. Now then, my sweet souls, are you ready to get started at looking at confessions? I'm not sure what order they're in, but I suppose we'll see, won't we? Now then, I also ask that you refer to me as Mother Pillow, please. Mother Pillow, okay? Or Sister Pillow works too. Stecco, thank you for the patronage to the church. And Consolas, thank you for joining joining the church. Thank you. Now then, let us look at our first confession. Ahem. I like to draw for people, and people don't like my art, so I cry a lot. To be something in life, I am a broken man. Thank you for listening. I thought this one was rather important to share. Oh goodness! Many of you are showing your patronage to the church. Thank you, Wolf King the Kid, for becoming a member of the church. Thank you, Pingu, for being a member of the church for 7 months. Eviolite, thank you for your donation to the church. I will use your donation to help souls in needs. Yes, the Healing Church. We are inside the Grand Cathedral right now. Entirely unrelated to Bloodborne, yes. Anyways, I thought that this confession was an especially important one to bring up. It is not a sinful confession, but I do think it is important. As an artist myself and someone who was learning at some point, I felt that it was important to bring up because when you're starting your artistic journey, when you're starting your artistic journey, it can often feel dreadful and sad whenever you feel like someone doesn't appreciate the work that you made for them, or you look at the work of others and feel that it's better than yours. It's painful, isn't it? But I want you to know that you put in a lot of time and a lot of effort into your work, and that is what makes it more beautiful than anything. You made it for someone with the intention of giving them love and care and giving them a gift. And that is so incredibly wonderful. This is not a sin. And I'm sorry that you are a broken man. But it's going to be okay. We love you. And we would love to see your art. If you show us your art, I'm sure that we will be able to tell you how much potential you have. That wasn't really a sin. I just wanted to share that one. Because I know a lot of artists out there struggle with feeling good about their art. Next one. During a volleyball... Forgive me. During a volleyball tournament in my first year of college, some girl accidentally sat on my phone. And when I asked for it, I instinctively sniffed it so hard in front of her and her friends, she cried and left early. Yes, this is quite the sin. This is quite the sin. I cannot deny that fact. This is definitely an unholy act that I think this is definitely an act that perhaps um, I don't... I should say that perhaps sniffing an object that has been beneath a woman's bosom directly in front of her would be considered in a form of assault, and it is a rather perverted act, and perversion in itself is a sin, especially when done to someone unprompted, so I do believe that this is a sin. But does it deserve forgiveness? Let us ask. Does this confession deserve forgiveness? I think that... Now, I don't think that it is the worst action in the world, but it depends on what you do to work towards forgiveness. Remember, at the start I mentioned that in order to be forgiven, you must work towards forgiveness. Now, you would deserve forgiveness by perhaps apologizing for what you've done. Apologize for your actions, first and foremost, because you have scared the poor woman. Secondly, I'd like to recommend that perhaps you never do such a thing again. If you must sniff your phone, please wait until you are home. Please wait until you are out of sight. But even then, sniffing it is still a bit of a sin, no? The Council of Souls, 53, have decided that no, you do not deserve forgiveness. Well, how we're doing... how we're doing this today is that if the majority of the votes say no, then you will not be forgiven. The majority of them say yes, then you will be forgiven. But a small majority of people have said no. So, you are not forgiven. You are not forgiven for sniffing phone after being under a woman's buttocks. Perhaps do not do that again. Your sin is not forgiven. Your sin is not forgiven, dear. I'm going to drink Wawa. Next sin. Let us go to the next sin. I have convinced my friends that I'm colorblind a few years back, and I've gone in too deep to tell them that I'm not actually colorblind. So almost every time we hang out, I have to pretend I'm colorblind to keep up this lie. Finally, I can say it out loud. I'm not colorblind. Oh, goodness. Even though it is a sin, it is quite a funny one. I'm imagining you out with your friends and they're like, do you want a red gusher or a green gusher? And you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be colorblind. And so you go, I don't know, I can't. Sir Rage, thank you for being a member of the church for 1 month. Thank you. The church thanks you. Goodness me. Do you think this is something worthy of being forgiven? I don't think it is that bad of a sin. Of course, you should not lie to your friends, but... it kinda just feels like a prank, doesn't it? I think it would be interesting if after a few years you finally told them and all of them were confused. It's rather silly. Mm. A majority of the Council of Souls are voting that yes, you do deserve forgiveness. The odds are in your favor. Or the votes are, I suppose. Ah, it seems that your crime is forgiven. Yes, you don't have to live this lie anymore. You don't have to live in fear, thinking that you are doing something dreadful. Your sin is forgiven. Your sins are absolved. You are not in trouble for lying about being colorblind for several years, but I will advise that you tell them eventually. I think it is wise. Otherwise, your friends might be, permanently upset with you, so... Please, my dear. I ask you tell them soon. Okay? Mm. Now then, darling. Let us have a look at the next one. Ah! A longer one. Let's see. Whenever these confession types of things come up, I always like to use this one, as it's classic in my books. It all starts with a guy we'll call Marty. Marty really likes peanut butter, and while I like it a lot too, I pale in comparison to Marty. So one day, I'm going about my business, eating peanut butter out of the jar like the infidel I am, and realize that I've been eating in a circular motion, to where it has a round hole in the peanut butter. I don't think much of it at the time, as it was 2 in the morning and I wanted something to eat before I went night-night. Fast forward to the next day, and a roommate I'll call Bob comes out with a jar and says, "Hey, who put their male body part in the jar?" Now, I know nobody has done it, so... because I was the one that made it that way with my spoon. But I wasn't about to stand up and say, "That's not a hole from the male genitalia. That's just the oddly round hole I made from eating peanut butter out of the jar with a spoon." Because that would have been kind of weird. So, what did my brain think was the next best course of action? A. Take the blame. B. Say I don't like peanut butter. C. Throw someone under the bus. D. Kill them. If you pick C, congratulations. Ah, yes, you're completely right. I threw the guy who loved peanut butter to the religious level under the bus for plopping the peanut butter, an act that he never committed. Dare I say, he tried valiantly to defend himself, but it's far too late for that. They never figured out it was me, and they never will. That is all, Mother Pillow dear. Ah. That is... that is quite the sin. It is one that I am struggling to find forgiveness for. While it is rather funny, it is also a bit sad that now your friend is probably forever known as the individual that likes to, as you said, plap peanut butter. I feel sorry for this poor soul. I feel quite bad for Marty. Oh, poor Marty. I'm so terribly sorry for what they did to you. Oh, Marty. Now, the question is this a sin worth forgiving? Because on one hand it is rather funny, but your actions have ruined the reputation of another person. And that in itself is quite outrageous, isn't it? So it's... it's a bit difficult to decide. Oh, goodness. A majority of the Council of Souls are voting no. I worry that perhaps you will not be able to receive forgiveness for your crimes. You might have to live with this on your back forever. I think the only way that you can get forgiveness is by admitting to your friends that it was you. You must tell the truth. You have to tell them. But, uh, even then, you have caused permanent damage to poor Marty. And that is unfortunate. Poor Marty, I am sorry. But, as it seems, you are not absolved of your sins. The Council of Souls have voted no. You do not deserve forgiveness for what you have done. You do not deserve forgiveness. I apologize. Although you have not committed a crime, you have committed blasphemy. That's what it is, right? Blasphemy? You have ruined his reputation. And I am very disappointed in you. Bad. Very bad. Oh well. I suppose. What can we do? Now then, to the next confession. Hopefully the next one is not as bad, no? When I was in middle school, waiting on my bus one morning, my neighbor's dog took a fat dookie on my backpack. It was wet and gross, and the dog was not on a leash. No, I love this backpack a lot. I think it's because I drew on the backpack pouch or something. As a child with no fear, I felt needed to get revenge. I took a dookie on the owner's yard after I got back home. Nobody found out, but I felt even. I bragged about it at school the next day, and my friends wanted to see where I did it. When I went to show them, the dookie was gone. Somebody picked up my poop thinking it was their dog's. My friends never believed me, but I know the truth. Oh. Dear child, that is quite a confession. You know, whenever you confess sins that you did whenever you were a child, I feel as though it is far easier to forgive because it was so long ago, and you're most likely not the same person that you used to be. So I'm sure that nowadays he wouldn't dookie on someone's yard, but at the same time, it was their fault for allowing their dog to dookie upon your backpack. Now, my Council of Souls, does this sin deserve forgiveness? I personally believe it does, and I'm sure a majority of you will believe so too. It is a crime that is hardly a crime at all. Is it illegal? Yes. Is it vengeance? Also yes. You have gotten vengeance for the decimation of your backpack. And for that, I applaud you. You have got revenge. Bravo, bravo. And as it seems, the Council of Souls agree. You deserve forgiveness for what you have done. 80% of them agree that you deserve forgiveness. Congratulations. Congratulations, you deserve forgiveness. Thank you. Thank you for your confession. And I hope now you feel better about what you have done. Very good. Now, on to the next. I catfished a friend for an entire year. I initially did it to mess with him, and it somehow lasted for an entire year because I was too afraid to tell him. Over the course of that year, I'd fell in love with him, and that made me not want to tell him even more than before. He eventually found out, and it was definitely an extremely rough time for me. We never spoke to each other again. I know I did him very wrong, and I don't remember what I was thinking at the time. To be honest, I don't know if I've moved on from him, but I hope that he is doing well now. Funny enough, around that time I found Pillow's videos, and they helped me out a bit. Am I cooked? This is a tricky one, isn't it? Thank you, Blast, for your donation to the church. We will use it to help those in need. Now then, this is a tricky one because it is very much a sin. You lied to someone and pretended to be something you weren't. Whereas, if perhaps you have been honest with yourself, these feelings, or honest with your friend, these feelings that you developed could have actually come out to something, but instead you catfished. And because of that, you lost whatever could have happened. And I think that in itself, the sin has been resolved because you have received punishment. You developed feelings and lost the person that you feel for, and you still haven't moved on. Is that not punishment enough? Mosh says you're cooked for this. Thank you for your donation to the church. You ain't cooked, you roasted. I personally think that you can be forgiven, but it is not up to me to decide. It is up to the Council of Souls. But I think that you have received enough punishment for what you have done. You did something bad and you have faced the consequences. Oh! But the majority of the council votes no! What council? Please explain yourself. No forgiveness. I hope everything will be alright. Bro is absolutely cooked. No. Forgiveness only because they've been punished, otherwise no. Catfishing is wrong. It is wrong. I do not support catfishing. Bro did rather wrong. It is true. You went against their trust and basically violated them. I think I agree. I don't think they deserve forgiveness. You're right. You're right, Council. You're right. I agree. Dear brother, I apologize, but you do not deserve forgiveness for your sins. I apologize. But I hope you can learn from your actions and never commit such a sin again. I hope you never commit such a sin again. No. Now then, on to the next sin. I ruined 4 friendships. One being a marriage by showing a profile. Sorry, I messed it up. I ruined 4 relationships. One being a marriage by showing a profile I found on Twitter to my friend. I was like, dude, I matched with your mom. Turns out it was his mom. His very married, about to be divorced mom. She just had her hair dyed and styled differently and was going by her middle and maiden name on her profile. Her husband was not happy. In the ensuing arguments, it was revealed the youngest daughter was aware and essentially blackmailed her mom to keep the secret in exchange for permission to date her own boyfriend. The boyfriend was not okay with the sister blackmailing her mom and covering up cheating. The Tinder hookup girlfriend was not happy, and in the ensuing argument, it was revealed that the hookup would frequent cruising spots. What is a cruising spot? Will someone explain that to me? What is a cruising spot? I am aware of that part because of the hookup regular cruising buddies was dating someone that works in my office building. She broke down sobbing in the break room while talking to her work friends, one of which is one of my work friends. Bro, I just wanted to set up a yo mama joke. This is not a sin that you have committed, no? All you have done was revealed what was hiding beneath the surface. You, dear brother, or, sister, you did not commit a sin. Yo mama jokes, as far as I'm aware, are not sinful. The only thing that everyone else was committing sin. Blackmailing, treason, all of that sort of stuff. That was the sin. But you You did not commit a sin. And I'm sorry that you feel guilty for this, but it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. No, no. You were not the one hiding in the shadows. And it seems most of the council agrees that you were forgiven. I hope you do not feel too much guilt for this. You do not deserve to feel guilty. I hope you are okay, poor sweet soul. Exposing sins isn't a sin itself, exactly. But 87% of the council agrees that you are forgiven. You are forgiven. Dear child, you are forgiven of your sins. Yes, you are forgiven. And I hope that you do not carry guilt for what has happened. Because, as a reminder, you did not do anything wrong. All you did was expose the sin of others. And for that, you shall not receive punishment. Please do not feel guilt. Now everyone, it is time for a water break. It's time for a water break. Please enjoy a few sips of water. Hydration is important, my children. Now then. Shall we move on to the next sin? The next sin, yes. Ahem. I listen to ASMR about 24/7 at this point. It's almost like an addiction. I listen to it when I go to bed, on walks, while doing schoolwork, even while eating meals. Do I have a problem? Should I stop? I do not believe that this is a sin. No. Is it not the same as listening to music? Or perhaps listening to a podcast? You are only doing what brings you joy. You are doing what makes you happy and what brings you peace in life. That is not a sin, and it should never be considered a sin. In fact, I hope it is my ASMR that you're listening to. Thank you, Blast, for your contribution to the church. Let my sweet voice guide you. I love you. Yes, they did never specify whose ASMR, but I am to hope that they listen to mine. I hope. Now, should they be forgiven? Should this poor soul be forgiven? Should they be allowed to listen to ASMR 24/7? In fact, should they listen to it even more? But, in my opinion, it's important to do things that bring you peace of mind. It's important to do things that help you feel calm, help you feel happy, because is there anything more important in life than feeling happy? I do not think so. So for that, the council has decided that you are forgiven. Listen to it 24/7, 365 days of the year. Never stop. Never stop the ASMR grind. I hope you feel better, and I hope you feel no guilt. The council agrees that what you are doing is good. And I hope it is me, otherwise I might cry. But I will not cry in front of you. I would feel bad if I made you feel sorrow. Now then, my darling, let us move on to the next. Ahem. I work as a mechanic at the local oil change shop in my town. And whenever a customer comes in for some work within 30 minutes left before we close, I offer to work on it because I know no one else will. doing so gets me alone with the car, and I do the work quickly, and I do it well, so there aren't any real issues for them to come back. But every time, just before I finish working on the car, I put a little nut or bolt somewhere in the car so that when it moves at high speeds, it starts to rattle, so it can annoy the customer like how they annoyed me when they came in just before closing. Ah, sweet revenge! In all honesty, I assume most people wish to do such a thing. Most people probably wish to do this whenever customers come in late. I'm sure that it is not a unusual thought to have. The only difference is that you do it whenever I think most people don't. But the majority of the council seems to agree with you that you're based, is what they say. Even if I do not entirely understand based, I agree with them. So, council, vote. Is it a sin? I think the reason that maybe I would argue against it, I don't own a car, no. But, although I do not own a car, I have to imagine that maybe the person's schedule was busy, and coming in late was the only time they could. So, I understand why someone might feel that they don't deserve to be forgiven because, you know, maybe the person didn't have any malicious intent. But at the same time, maybe we can assume that OP, perhaps makes that judgment. So when someone comes in, maybe they decide if someone has ill intention. Pardon me, I'm not quite sure. I just try to see the sides of all things, but as it seems, a majority of the council thinks that you deserve forgiveness. So, sweet darling, you have been forgiven for your crimes. Though I would advise being a little bit more careful when you do it. But you have been forgiven! Yay! Congratulations. But thank you for making a confession, and thank you for letting us listen. Now then, next confession. Whenever I see bald people, I just have an instant urge to Whenever I see bald people, I just have an instant urge to caress their bald head. Is that wrong? Ah. Now, chat, I must say I don't leave the church often. So, it is not often I have the opportunity to see a bald person, but I suppose seeing such a brown appendage with shine, it is tempting to caress their head. But the difference here is that you're not acting upon it, no. You are not caressing people's heads without their permission. So, I ask you, dear council, is it a sin to think intrusive thoughts? Is it a sin to think in your mind that you would like to caress a bald person's head? Is it a sin? And the council responds. And the council say that yes, you deserve forgiveness. Yes, you deserve forgiveness for wishing to caress a bald person's head. Oh, goody. Perhaps, if any of you were bald, you could show us the top of your head, and we will decide if we wish to caress it or not. Show me your bald head. Now then, let us continue to the next confession. 3 years ago, 3 years ago, at the beginning of May, I told my mother, I will wish you a happy Mother's Day if it is important to you, but know that I won't mean it and that I don't care about that day. The next day, my father told me that I had made her cry. I really blamed myself for having said that. So, to apologize, I brought her flowers, a necklace, and we went to a restaurant. Since then, I wish her a happy Mother's Day every year, and I buy her a huge bouquet of flowers. I hope I never make my mother cry again. I really am sorry. That was so sad. That one's so sad. Oh dear. I think you deserve to be forgiven. Considering that you have done all you can to make your mother feel better. You show her love every single Mother's Day. And I think that is beautiful. Thank you, Emmy, for the donation to the church. Yes, I think you deserve forgiveness. Perhaps if you found out that you had made your mother cry and did nothing about it, then it would be a sin that should not be forgiven. But you worked hard to make sure that your mother knows that she is loved. And I think that is beautiful. For that, I think your sin deserves forgiveness. And a majority of the council agrees. Oh, it is so beautiful. Seeing so many hearts come together to absolve this person of their sin. It is truly beautiful. Dear sinner, dear sweet soul, we absolve you of your sin. You have done well to show your mother that you care and you love her, and for that, we offer you forgiveness. It is so wonderful, truly, truly. Yes, you deserve forgiveness. The council agrees, the council agrees. Continue to show your mother love. And all of you, council, all of you listening, I encourage you to show your mother love as well, or your father, or anyone else in your life, because you never know what they're going through, or how long you'll have them. Please, show them love when you can. Show them you care. Thank you for your confession. Thank you, thank you. And I hope now you feel better about the sin that you have committed. Feel better, yes. Next confession. Once I was home alone, so I peed with the bathroom door open. Long story short, my cat came in behind me and scared me, and I accidentally peed a little bit on my cat's head. The cat has certainly forgiven me, but I have not forgiven me. Oh, sweetheart. That is quite the sin. Putting pee on your mother's head. On your cat's head. Peeing on your cat's head is quite the sin, I suppose. But as I see it, the cat does not even understand. I'm not sure the cat even understood that you had put pee on it. I don't know if the cat knew. But... I didn't mean to say on your mother. We were talking about moms, okay? But... I think it is a sin worth forgiving, especially since it is quite funny. But let us ask the council what they think. My question is, do you have photos of the cat? Please, dear sweetheart, show us pictures of your cat. I long for kitten. A majority of the council is saying that you do deserve forgiveness. The council has been so forgiving. I think there's only been 1 or 2 people that have not been forgiven by the council. Hmm. But it seems that even if you have not forgiven yourself, the council has forgiven you for your sin of peeing on your cat. So, dear cat peer, please remember to close the door behind you when you use the restroom. Or if you leave it open, do not whip around. Please? Otherwise, I fear you might pee on someone else by accident, and perhaps a future partner if you are not careful. Or maybe another pet to your cat again, so... Please be more careful with your pee. But you have been absolved of your sin. Sin absolved. Wow. Meow meow meow. Okay, on to the next. Why don't you confess your sins? On to the next. Anyways, you don't need to know my sins. I do not sin. I am absolved. I am forgiven. Please do not ask. Please do not ask. I will not tell you. Confess, sister. No, I shall not. Okay. Next confession. Ahem. Should I tell my sister the truth about what happened to her pet parakeet? So about 5 years ago, my sister bought herself a pet parakeet. She had it for maybe a week. What happened was the parakeet knew how to open its own cage. So one day, I get home from work. Nobody's home. I'm tired. I work in construction, so I go straight to my room to relax. The lights I keep off, and I just let the little bit of sunlight that's left in my room. I have this routine where I remove my size 13 steel-toe boot and just chuck them next to my bookshelf. However, the moment I took off my boot and threw it, I heard a strange noise I had never heard before. I turn on my lamp and see my sister's new parakeet next to my boot not moving. I immediately went to it, but it was too late. He was gone. What I regret is not telling my sister that I know how he passed, because what I did was I placed his body back in the cage. My family thinks he passed from hunger or loneliness. I bought her a Yorkshire Terrier pup a week later. She loves it and still has him, but I regret not telling her what actually happened to the parakeet. Dear sinner, this is quite the complicated situation. I do not know if you should be forgiven or not. I do not think it was your fault that you have accidentally ended the life of the poor parakeet, but I do think that it's important to tell her. Especially if it's been a while. It was an accident, but it is not right to continuously lie to her. It is important that you tell her, and until you do tell her, I fear that your sin might not be forgiven. Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is what keeps trust between you and others. And the longer that you keep this as a lie, the more pain it will cause her. I think it is important to sit down next to her and tell her the truth. But until you do that, I'm not sure I can forgive you. I forgive you for the action, but not the lie. Please tell her. Especially... I especially think, since telling her that it might have died due to loneliness would make her feel guilty. She probably feels like its death was her own fault. You know? And maybe it keeps her up at night thinking that she killed it. She probably feels extremely guilty. And I just think you need to tell her. Because this is probably bringing her more pain than anything. Please let her know. But, as it seems, a very small majority of the council has decided that you deserve forgiveness. 53% of the council has decided that you deserve to be forgiven. Oh heavens. Well, I personally do not think you can be forgiven until you tell the truth. The council has decided that in fact you do deserve forgiveness. So, dear sinner, this sin has been absolved. Let us have a moment of silence for the parakeet. Also, I'm drinking water. Thank you, dear parakeet. Thank you. On to the next confession. During my training as an EMT, emergency medical technician, I had to work at a fire department for a certain number of hours. I worked alongside actual firemen and paramedics who were allowed to do significantly more than an EMT like me. They always think I'm older than I actually am because I'm 6'3", and they assume I am a paramedic student who, again, could legally do a lot more than me. One day, I just didn't tell the crew that I was an EMT. They let me drive the ambulance and blast through traffic, put a tube down someone's throat, and I even gave ketamine to one guy, all of which are technically illegal for me to do. Driving the ambulance is just as fun as it looks, by the way. I basically got to ignore all the rules of the road. Nobody ever found out about it. Do I deserve forgiveness? Brothers just confessed to multiple crimes. Dear goodness. If anyone found out about this, I think you'd be arrested. I think you'd go to jail and have your medical license revoked. I do not think you deserve forgiveness. Not necessarily because you broke the law, but because you could have seriously hurt someone. You know, it was your first time driving an ambulance. You put a tube down someone's throat. You gave someone ketamine. There is a possibility of you doing it wrong since you are not certified. You could have hurt someone or killed someone. And I don't think that is something that should be easily forgiven. But your sins' resolvement is not for me to decide. It is for the council. Dear council, I ask you, does this EMT deserve forgiveness for the crimes that they have committed? Do they deserve forgiveness for what they have done? Oh heavens. 53 so far have voted no. I mean, I understand that they didn't hurt anyone. And for that, I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's just they could have. You know, something really bad could have happened. It's most certainly a scary situation, isn't it? Oh, it's 50-50. Our first... Oh, 51? Ooh. I will end it in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have won forgiveness by 1%. Or by 2% technically. By 2% you have won forgiveness. Somehow luck was on your side, and you were able to deserve You were able to get forgiveness for what you have done. Goodness. Council of Souls. Look at me. Look at me, souls. Tell me, how do you decide who deserves forgiveness? Why? Why have you absolved them of your sins? Why? How? Council. You all do crime very bad. Council. Oh, council. I shake my head at the I shake my head at tea. It is okay, council. I still love you. Mwah. On to the next confession. Sometimes I have to close the door on my cat so I can't hear his meowing at night. Sad face. Delirious, thank you for your donation to the church. We will use it nicely. Oh, this is quite a sin. Perhaps this is the worst sin we have heard so far. Closing the door on your cat. Unforgivable. Your poor cat. Do you ever think that perhaps it meows because it loves you? And you shut the door on it. Bad. But I do understand. Maybe you just need some sleep. But on one hand, your cat just might love you. On the other hand, maybe you have a test tomorrow and you need a lot of sleep. It is up to the council to decide. My personal vote is that you can be forgiven if you start letting your cat sleep with you at night. No longer close the door on your cat, okay? A small majority of the council is voting that no, you do not deserve forgiveness. I understand. Yes, I do. But I'm sure you love your cat. Oh, this one is 50-50 again. Wow. 51 and 49. You might win by a small percentage. It's interesting how decided the council is. But 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dear sinner, your sins have been resolved. The council decided that you deserve forgiveness for locking your cat out of your room at night. The council has decided you deserve forgiveness. Enjoy your forgiveness, yes. And feel less guilt about locking your cat out. But perhaps during the day, show your cat a little bit more love, please. Now, on to the next sin. When I was around 10 years old, me and my younger brother shared a room we both slept in. One time, when he was really annoyed at me that day, I waited till our mom tucked us into bed, and when he fell asleep, I crawled onto his bed and farted on his face before going back to sleep. That was 8 years ago. Can I be redeemed? This is... Oh, sweet sinner. This is... such an interesting confession. Someone said it's attempted murder. Quiet Tea says no. But thank you for your donation to the church. Greatly appreciated. As someone who does not have any siblings, aside from my sisters at the church, I do not know that it is right to fart on your brother's face. That is your blood. That is a part of you. And you have released gases upon him. But at the same time, it was 8 years ago. So perhaps in some way you can be forgiven, but still it is quite sinful, no less. My question is, have you ever told your brother that you farted on his face? I simply must know. Eh? I'm almost 50-50 again. This has been reoccurring, hasn't it? Council, you have been so decided. Indecisive is what I meant to say. But, dear sinner who has farted upon thou brother's face, the council has voted 52% that you deserve forgiveness. And I don't know how. Because honestly, I assumed that you would not be forgiven, but somehow the council has forgiven you. And I'm starting to suspect that everyone just wants to vote yes. This is rather concerning. To not forgive a child, you have to be a monster. That is true. You were simply children. And I suppose when you're a child, farting on your sibling's face seems like a proper course of action. Even if I have never done such a thing, I suppose I can understand that a child might want to. Goodness. Sinners, you have such interesting confessions. Oh, your sins are so interesting. Quite interesting. I am infertile from eating scented candles. Pardon? Whatever does that mean? Is it true that scented candles can make you infertile? Does eating scented candles remove your ability to have a... Does eating scented candles remove your ability to have babies? Does eating scented candles make you infertile? Quiet Tea, thank you for your donation to the church. What the heck? I agree. My question is, why have you been eating scented candles? I'm sure one scented candle would not make you infertile. Maybe you simply wanted to try. But as if it's seen, you made it plural. And you have eaten enough scented candles to remove your fertility. It is quite peculiar. And I'm not sure it can be considered a sin. So I'll ask the council, but I am at a bit of a loss. I suppose I do not understand. Dear sinner, how many? How many candles have you eaten? I'm so desperate to know. How many candles have you consumed? And did they taste good? Did you eat them because you liked the flavor? Did you eat them because you liked the scent? Did you eat them with a spoon? Dear sinner, how? How did you eat those scented candles? Pardon, I am losing composure. And as it seems, the majority of the council has decided that yes, you deserve forgiveness for being infertile and eating scented candles. Do you smell good now? Me when I go to kiss you and your breath smells like scented candles. Ah. That is so interesting. Ah. Ah. Now that we have relished in the thought of infertility and scented candles, we may move on to the next confession, and hopefully it is less boggling than eating scented candles. Ahem. When I was 12, I would pee in cups and dump them out the window because I was too lazy to go to the bathroom. My dad even commented, "Sometimes it sounds like a waterfall is coming from the roof. One day I'll figure it out." And to this day, he never did. And because he moved, he never will. So, dear sinner, why is it common for 12-year-old boys to be too lazy to go to the restroom? Were you playing Fortnite? I do not know if this is a sin that can be forgiven. The earth is forever stained with your pee. And the fact that it landed on the roof too? And so... Dear sinner, I hope that you have changed. And I hope that every single time you need to use the restroom, you actually go to the restroom. Because if you do not, I am extremely concerned for your well-being. Please, dear sinner, just go to the restroom. Council, do they deserve forgiveness, council? Council. Do they deserve forgiveness? Ah, and for the first time in a while, a majority has voted no. Dear sinner, you do not deserve forgiveness for dumping pee out your window. You have not been forgiven. And I do not know how you can be forgiven. Because, good Lord. Oh my. Disgusting. I hope that now that you are older, you've changed your ways. Do not tell the father. He will be disappointed. Yeah. Alright. Let us move on to the next confession, shall we? Ahem. I had a debilitating attraction towards belly buttons for a long time, as I can remember. Just think they're really cute. Not much else to it. But it's one of my most well-kept secrets, considering it's a bit odd to bring up. Interesting. Dear Council, I come to you, asking you gently, is it a sin to be attracted to belly buttons? I do think bellies are cute. I like girls with cute bellies. Though, I can only imagine them in my mind. It is simply a belly button. No. But, is it a sin? Is it a sin to like belly buttons? But to such... Because you like belly buttons to such an amount that you felt the need to confess it. And it makes... And you said it was debilitating. You like them more than one should? No? Can a brother simply not wish to speak his mind? If not, life would be dull. Amen. Free my man, he ain't done nothing. Well, a majority of the council seems to agree that, dear sinner, you are forgiven for your enjoyment of belly buttons. A majority of the council thinks that it is worth forgiveness. And hey, at least you weren't sniffing phones that were underneath a girl's buttocks. That is far better. The council has decided your fate. Yes, 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 yes. Now then, let us move on to the last confession that I have saved. Maybe we can look at more, since there's still a lot of time. But they will not be saved ones, they'll just be ones from the confession box. One more drink of water. This sinner confesses, I love yanderes. No, you don't understand. I really love yanderes. Every day, I try to find any new yandere manga, anime, comic, or ASMR. Whenever I find something new or there's a new chapter, my heart leaps with joy. I despise horror, but for some reason the fear of a scary yandere girl gives me adrenaline pumping. I fantasize about a yandere stalking me 24/7, watching my every move. I fantasize about a yandere kidnapping me. I fantasize about a yandere kidnapping me, holding me captive in her basement. I fantasize a yandere biting, scratching, and injuring me out of pure ecstasy and love. I fantasize a yandere clinging to me and apologizing after brutalizing my body. I fantasize a yandere being jealous of every female acquaintance I've ever talked to. I fantasize meeting my end at the hands of a yandere who loves me. My yandere fetish is considered a sin by most of my friends. Is there hope for me? Can my sin be forgiven? Dear sinner, you have put me in quite the troubling situation. Is it a sin to simply enjoy something? Is it a sin to desire the touch of a woman? Is it a sin to desire a certain type of love? Perhaps, is it a sin to fantasize about cruelties, but these cruelties are upon yourself and not others. Is it a sin? Perhaps. Does it deserve forgiveness? That I do not know. But what I do know is that the council will decide your fate. Council, I ask you, is it a sin to fantasize about yanderes? Do they deserve forgiveness? Forgive? Probably. Hope. Maybe not. Dear sinner, I have hope for you. But please, I advise you to take care of yourself. You should not wish for your life to be ended at the hands of a yandere. You should wish for her to perhaps make you a pie, or take care of you and give you head pats. Things that are nice for you, things that are good for you. It is okay to want a girl who loves you beyond reason, but perhaps do not wish for her to injure yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself for who you are. Love yourself as much as I love you. And please, tell me every single sin you've ever committed. I want to hear the bad. I want to hear the ugly. I want to hear all the terrible things you've done. But that's just because I love you. And I love every part of you. So, my council has decided that you deserve forgiveness. 73% of the council has decided that you are worthy of forgiveness. And I'm so happy for you. Tell us my confession. Why should I tell you? Why should I tell you? Council, do you really think that I sin? Do you really think that there is anything that I would need to confess? I have atoned for my sins. I have freed myself of the pain that comes with the guilt and burden of crime. There is nothing I need to tell you. There is nothing I need to tell you, and yet you... Fine. My counsel. Fine. I will tell you my sin. But only one. Only one sin. But not because I seek your forgiveness, but because I think that if you know that I sin too, it'll make you feel better for what you have done. I dropped my ring. Oops. Where'd it go? Okay, I got it. Forgive me, it's a bit difficult to tell you. Do you promise to still devote yourself to the church, even after I tell you? Do you promise? I suppose that is my biggest fear. Well, since you have promised, Council, I tell you my sin, my confession. Despite devoting my everything to the church, despite giving everything I have to the healing church, devoting my life to the grand cathedral, something else has been on my mind as of late. Something sinful. Something outside of my devotion to the church. I fear that these thoughts have plagued me. These thoughts have made me a little distracted when helping others. And I am ashamed. I am ashamed of my thoughts. Oftentimes, I have thought of a world where you and I have the opportunity to be in love. Where, while still on the walls of the Grand Cathedral, perhaps you and I could hold hands. It's rather embarrassing now. I apologize. My thoughts of you, my love for you, they go beyond what I follow. I promise the church that I dedicate every single thought I have to them, to helping others, and yet my heart yearns. My heart yearns for you. My heart, it yearns for a life where you and I can spend our time together. Counsel, does my sin deserve forgiveness? I know it sounds unforgivable, and I apologize. I did not mean to burden you with this thought. Oh, I should have kept it to myself. I'm sorry. All I've done is burden you. All I've done is informed you of these sinful thoughts that I have. And now you will be unable to enter the church without knowing. I apologize. I apologize for wanting to hold your hand. I am sinful. But as it seems, you have forgiven me. You've forgiven me when I can never forgive myself. I will never be able to forgive myself for what I have done. I will never be able to forgive myself for loving you when I have devoted myself to the church. And yet you have forgiven me. You have offered me forgiveness in a space where I should not be forgiven. I thank you, even if I feel immense guilt. And because of your forgiveness, I will allow myself to keep loving you. Now, it is time for you to devote yourself to the church as well. And perhaps then, and only then, our love can truly blossom. Join me. Join me in the church. I love you. Do you want more confessions? We could do a few more. I like spending time with you. I don't want to leave. Those are all the ones that I had saved, but I guess we could pull the confession straight from the door, from the store, from the forms. church. Papa. Father, thank you for the 5 gifted. Now then, let me see, how should I pull these up? One moment. Okay. I figured out how we're gonna do this. Alright. Jazzy! Sorry. Sister Jasmine, thank you for joining us in the church. Thank you, Sister Jasmine. And thank you, Cherylak, for the gift. Thank you all for joining me in the church. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Dear Jazzy, I apologize, but we have already gone through most of the confessions. Now we are simply going to look at ones straight from the form. Now then. Confession. I have held hands with a girl that wasn't Pillow. Excuse me, dear sinners. I will be right back. Yes, certainly. That is quite the sin. Holding hands before marriage. Holding hands before marriage. Disgusting. You are supposed to never hold hands before marriage. And what do I see you do? What do I see you do? You hold hands before marriage. The church, please do not forgive this sinner. Council, do not vote in their favor. Do not vote in their favor. Yes, very good, Council. Council, you are so wise. You are so wise, Council. Very good. Very good. The Council has not forgiven you. Absolutely not. You have not been forgiven for your crime. The majority of the Council has voted no. You are not forgiven. No. Sigh. Sigh. Now then, let us move on to the next confession. Father Pillow, my confession is when I was young, I wasn't able to swim. I was really sad and a little jealous. Everyone else in my class could, so I conquered a plan. What I did every morning before my brother woke up was I used to run downstairs and eat the fish food, as I believed that this would grant me gills and the ability to swim. So, for around a month, I did this ritual until one morning I overheard my parents asking why we were running out of fish food so quickly, and me being scared I would be found out, stopped eating the fish food, and gave up on trying to learn how to swim. Father Pillow, please find it very hard to forgive my transgressions. P.S. Fish food doesn't taste anything, and it's just very bland. Wow. Dear sinner, this is... Oh. This is quite the confession. Quite the I don't know if I could exactly call it a sin. I can't say you particularly did too much wrong. It's certainly rather silly, but downright sinful, I'm not so sure. I think it's beautiful, actually. It shows the human nature, perhaps. The childish nature. Naive, foolish, believing in plans that have no proof behind them. I actually find this story quite wholesome. I like this story, and it seems the majority of the council does as well. Dear sinner, you are no longer a sinner. You have been absolved. The council greatly agrees that you are absolved of your sins. Congratulations. Council, I bring to you the next confession. I have ignored my dad a lot when he asked me to watch a movie together, and I've always felt bad when I see him sitting alone on the couch and watching the movie. Recently, I walked in on him crying because I never sat down and watched a movie with him. I don't know if I can forgive myself for making my dad cry. Am I a bad person? Dear sinner, that is so terribly sad. I have never had a father, and I dream of what it would be like. I wish I had the opportunity to watch a movie with one, but I think if you want forgiveness, it's important that you actually watch movies with your father now and show him that you care and want to spend time with him. It's clear he loves you and just wants to spend time with you. So please, dear sinner, just spend time with your father. Now, council, I ask you, does this sin deserve forgiveness? Does the sin of making one's father cry? No. Oh heavens. Dear sinner, I apologize, but your sins have not been resolved. I don't think you're a bad person, though. I know that it may feel like you're a bad person, but just know that the fact that you acknowledge that you have done something wrong is a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction towards making things better and amending relations with your father. I advise your next step to be to actually spend time with him. I don't think you're a bad person. I think you just need to work towards bringing him joy, so you two can be happy together, okay? Quiet tea, thank you. How does one leave the sacred church of Pillow? I want to go home. Why would you ask me such a thing? We'll do 5 more. Dear Council, we'll do 5 more sins, and then I will let you free. All right? Da, 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 da. I apologize. Many of these confessions are far too crude to show you. We can do this one. In primary school, we tricked a younger kid into drinking toilet water that we scooped into a bottle. After like 5 minutes of convincing her it's just water, we all laughed so hard and ran away. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. Dear, that is so gross. That's just mean. And it was a younger kid too. It wasn't even like... It wasn't even someone in your grade. It was a younger kid. That's even worse. I know you were also just a kid, but that is so mean. That is quite rude. Oh dear sinner. I don't even know what to say to you right now. That is just mean, 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 mean. A majority of the council does not think you deserve forgiveness. The odds are not in your favor. 81%. Duckros, thank you for your contributions to the church. We thank you greatly. The majority of the council decided that you are not forgiven. You must forever live with your crime of convincing a kid to drink toilet water. Bad, bad, bad. Unforgivable, unforgivable. Council, I present to you another confession. I farted on my dog and threw up on my aunt's ashes. Sinner, why did you do that? I can't think of any good reason. I mean, perhaps they were accidents, but... Stego! Was it you? Did you fart on your dog and throw up on your aunt's ashes? Why? To why? Please justify yourself. Please explain to us why this has happened. I must know. It's difficult to comprehend why you would do such She did a dreadful thing. What did your aunt do to deserve? You can't. How do you separate the robe from ashes? How do you forgive yourself for farting on a dog? I fear you have done something absurd. The council has voted no. The council has voted you do not deserve forgiveness. The council is upset with you. The council. This is why you should not reveal yourself. These were anonymous. These were anonymous, and you have revealed yourself. Anonymous. And you have told the entire world that it was you. Now everyone knows. We eagerly await your explanation. You didn't even say you felt bad, that's true. Oy, oy, oy. You have outed yourself. This is for you. What now? Another confession? I'm looking for one. If she finds mine, it's over. I've read them all. I mentioned before, but I read all 577. Everything that you've said, I've read. I've read things that have changed me. I read things that I don't think anyone should ever have to know. Or ever have to see. It's quite... My life feels permanently altered. And some of you know what you did. And all I want you to know is that now that I know, even if I don't know that it's you, I live with this knowledge forever now. Okay, we'll do this one as our last confession. I simply do not know what to say about it. It is absurd. Council, I present to you the final confession. Ahem. I confess that I, as a boy, stole underwear from a girl, but I gave her to her birthday her favorite music CD she wanted. I still feel bad. Absolutely not. I believe you were going to jail. Stealing underwear from a girl. Good gracious. Have you no shame? Have you no shame? First of all, thievery is a sin. Second of all, you are a pervert. You have crossed the boundaries of what one should do. The poor girl. And she doesn't even know, does she? I'm disappointed in you. That poor girl. shame. Shame. Feel shame upon your soul. And somehow, the council, yes, while deciding that you don't deserve forgiveness, it is a far smaller portion than I think, or than I thought there would be. Council! Council! What are you saying? Council! Some of you are sinful. Some of you say things that should not be said. And in the presence of the Grand Cathedral, disgusting. I'm disappointed in you. Sweetheart, I didn't know you were such a pervert. Some of you need to go to the corner. Some of you need to go to the washing machine. Only 59% of you voted no. Only 59? I am concerned. To all of you that voted that OP deserves forgiveness, you will not be allowed in my bedroom. I now know your plans. Do not come to my house. Do not come to my quarters within the Grand Cathedral. You are permanently banned. I am afraid of you. I'm scared of you. You're scary. Scary. But... some of you are so sinful. Sinful. I think we should all forget about these confessions once stream ends. I do not think we can forget. Perhaps you can forget, but I cannot. I have read through 577 anonymous confessions. I have seen horrors. Beyond what you will know, I will forever remember what happened. I will forever know that someone did things. I will forever remember the carp. I will forever remember the catfish. I will remember the infertile candles. I will remember the pee. I will remember the cats. I will remember everything. I cannot forget. And it has changed my life. If we didn't confess anything, do we still receive forgiveness? Maybe. Perhaps if you enjoy this, we could do another confessions, so more of you can receive divine judgment. Ah yes, the peanut jar. How can I forget about the peanut jar? I love you. I do. And my love for you is unconditional. I have one to confess. I pranked my ex-wife about cheating during a divorce. Do I reserve forgiveness? No. You made her cry. And for that, I do not forgive you. I think... No, I do not remember the 21st night of September. I think... we should all... I think we should all take a moment to close our eyes and breathe. an attempt to relax and cleanse our mind. Let us all close our eyes in unison and take deep breaths. Father, please help those that have sinned. Qasim, Abritus. Please, Amagelda, help them. Save them. Anyways, I must go lay down now in my quarters. Oh goodness, I feel as though I'm running a fever. I need to place a wet towel upon my head. I need to speak to Qasim, to Abritus. I need them to help me sort through the absurd confessions that I have read. I ask you, all of you, if you feel as though you've been put in a position where you aren't sure if you deserve forgiveness, do what you can to sort of just do what you can, what you think would get you forgiveness, please. Can we hold hands? I'm embarrassed. I'm too embarrassed to hold hands. But I also want you to remember that even if you weren't allowed forgiveness, you're a beautiful soul. You've lived a life with many memories. You've helped people. You've met people. You've created memories. And there is nothing more beautiful and worthy than that. You are a person. You are a human. And sins are bound to happen. I love you. And I want you to know you're beautiful, regardless of the sin. I adore you forever. Now, I'm going to go get rest in my chambers and try to cleanse my mind. I love you, and I hope that I can see you again soon. But first, I have a request to make. Would you go in the Discord server and into video request and request the ASMR live stream we're gonna do on Sunday? Thanks, I love you. Mwah.